Well, good morning, everyone, from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. City settled in 1843 and named after Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom as the sailboats settling into the harbor. We are at the Save-On Foods Memorial Center. It's time to get your tickets and get inside for this 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. So everyone excited for this final day of round robin play, and our feature game here in Draw 15, Sweden against Denmark. Big games, both teams sitting in the playoff hunt, but need victories here on the final day of competition. The Scots also in that playoff competition right now, in a good standing to try and make it into as one of those four teams heading to the playoff picture, which will be settled out later tonight, maybe tomorrow, depending if there are tiebreakers or not. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Luke Coley, joined with Rick Watson this morning, or whatever time you may be tuning in around the world. The World Field all congested on this arena, as lots of teams still in contention coming to the final three round robin draws. No Canada in this draw. They are off. They are tied with Scotland, but lots of that we will discuss throughout this broadcast this morning. We will be on Sheet A for our game, Sweden against Denmark. As we get a chance to meet the teams, Victor Schall, the lead for Sweden. Their second, Fredrik Lindberg. The third, Sebastian Kraup. And the skip from Karlstad, Sweden, Niklas Edin. Trying to snap a three-game losing streak. They'll take on Denmark. Trolls Harry, their lead. Second, Mikael Poulsen. The third on Team Denmark, Johnny Fredriksson. And their skip, the entertaining, charismatic, young Rasmus Stjerne. As I said, the two teams atop the standings, Canada, Scotland, they've been in the final the last 2 years. They're followed by Denmark at 6-3. Then the logjam of four lost teams, Norway, China, Sweden, and Czech Republic at 5-4. Switzerland, US close behind. Outside chance with 5 losses. They need some wins and some help. And then Japan, Russia, Finland rounding out the standings as we look at all the other games going on here. This Draw 15, our game is on Sheet A. Sheet B, Czech Republic, Japan. Sheet C, Scotland, China. And on D, it is Russia against the USA. All the usual handshakes. Rick, it will be a good one. Important games not only for playoffs, but Denmark came into this event looking at Olympics as a big thing for them.
Absolutely. Your placement in these Worlds and last year's Worlds determine whether you make it to next year's Olympics in Sochi. So every victory, whether you're at the bottom of the standings or in the playoffs, makes a difference for next year.
Well, some spectators excited to be on the big screen here at the Save-On Foods Memorial Center. As it will be Sheet A. We'll take you to the wide side as we swing on over to Sheet A. It'll be Denmark throwing first. They have the yellow stones, while Sweden will have the red and last stone advantage here in the first end. So to get us going, it will be Trolls Harry and this Denmark squad looking to win one of two games, not officially, but with a win should confirm and clinch a Olympic spot for them.
And likely a playoff spot here to this week as well. Denmark coming in 6-3 in third place. Sweden in that logjam at fourth place with 5 wins and 4 losses. They likely need to win both their games today against Denmark and Canada, so not an easy task.
Nicholas SWE-DEN, a pre-tournament favorite coming into this one, has not put together more than 2 complete games. They had 1 game early against Czech Republic that they were near flawless, but have had to fight through every game. They've lost 3 straight. Japan, Norway, Scotland. That leaves them with 4 losses. Can't afford another. They want to try and get to playoff position for the reigning European champion.
A reminder that teams must play at least 6 ends during round-robin play. They each have 73 minutes to play their stones for the 10 ends, and they are allowed 1 interaction with their coach.
Well, deciding to play hits early on in this one. That first stone going in was a big win for Denmark last night. They beat China to get to this point and sit alone in 3rd place, controlling their own destiny, controlling the chance to get to the qualify out of the Olympics. The top 7 teams based on ranking plus Russia will qualify directly. There will also be a playoff for the final 2 teams for the 2014 Sochi Olympic Winter Games.
Yeah, you don't want to get into that situation, though. You'd like to get your work done here this week in Victoria and know that you're in the Olympics.
Mikael Poulsen going out to the wide side. Look to play the hit. Try and roll to the center. Well, as we have these hits, can look at it. Coming in, Denmark was on the bubble. They were that 7th team to qualify, followed closely by the U.S. and Switzerland. So the fact that they're sitting in 3rd place right now, a couple more wins, they'll be in good standing to get to the Olympic Winter Games. And that was goal number 1, talking to their alternate, Lars Valant, was, first off, let's get to the Olympics. A playoff spot is a bonus.
Two victories today for Denmark would clinch at least 2nd place.
Of course, top 4 teams into the playoffs. The top 2 teams will play in a 1-2 game with the winner straight to the final. So an advantage if they're able to do that. They control where they stand.
As you said, the Swedish team got off to a bit of a slow start, and then it seemed like they might be getting on a roll, getting things on track when they were 4-1 a couple days ago. But as you said, they've lost 3 in a row, and they're definitely on the bubble to make the playoffs.
Well, Sweden as a team, their numbers not showing that they should be just out of or in that tie with 4 losses. They come in at 86% as a team. Denmark a percent below them.
Johnny Fredriksson is the veteran on this team. The team as a foursome's only been together for 3 years. But Fredriksson's appeared in numerous world championships.
And in different positions, he's played 3rd, as he is right now. He's skipped, he's thrown 4 stones, he's called the game, thrown 3rd rocks, so lots of different combinations for Johnny.
Rasmus Stern, the skip for Denmark. This team finished 8th last year. They look in good shape to improve upon that record.
So an open draw for Johnny Fredriksson. His best finish for himself at all his world championships, that was 5th in 2010. In Cortina, Italy. Has not seen the playoffs at a world championship. Does have 2 European medals to his name. A silver in 2010, 2 bronze, 1 in 2007, 1 in 2011. So we see Sebastian Kraup. Well, nose hit here, first end of play. It is draw 15, a Thursday morning in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Second time it's hosted this event.
First time was in 2005 when this building was brand new. I think the paint was still wet when the event began.
Well, just that one stone in the rings as we see the 24-year-old Skip Erasmus. Well, Rasmus will lean on his third. Johnny Frederickson a fair amount. Obviously the experience, and one prior appearance for Rasmus as a player. That was last year, finished 7th as Nicholas Sedin, no stranger to this event and the playoffs. Looking to hit, roll over to the side. Just get to a different spot in the ice, force Rasmus to have to go over to it.
One stone each remaining in this first end.
Well, without the hammer, final stone for Rasmus. And right on the nose. So all that, and now Nicholas Sedin will look to blank the end. So Nicholas Sedin, just 27 years of age, looking to hit and roll out. Have enough, there it will go. So all that, no score, first end. Sweden will retain hammer. Here you're watching the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Well, Victoria has opened their arms to the world as you see all the flags and getting all the autographs. I think missing out on Russians and the Chinese there.
Sweden, I think they
be able to get them after this game to finish off that poster. No score. Second end here, the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Luke Coley, Rick Watson. As Denmark brings their first into the house, as they did in the first. So corner guard will go up. Victor Schall. And now into it. After that first end, they play the hits. Corner guard goes out. A little wider than they might have wanted. Still going to see the center line. Stone go out in front. Trolls Harry. Well, a longer guard than they wanted. Leaves a little bit of that one open to try and play the freeze or even a little tap and roll behind the corner guard.
Victor Schall's first appearance at the World Championships was in 2007 when he played for Pia Lindholm.
Well, and we'll get a look at one of his teammates as well, who is now coaching the Denmark team. Is this just big weight? Victor Schall goes right through.
That was very heavy.
Just overthrew it. Needed to make sure that they at least kept the shoot around. Even a freeze is better than where that one went to. So an early miss for Victor. Denmark can wrap another one around that center line guard and bring play to the center of the house. This is the bread and butter. When you get in trouble, Nicholas Edin refers to the run back and goes at it, not afraid to play it, and probably make more than any team in the field in making these run backs, probably because they play the most of any team. Frederick Lindberg try and start things off, make this run double. Well, get one, touch the second, won't, and still leaves Denmark lying two.
So Denmark can just replace that guard now.
They want this high. They know that Sweden will play that run back again. Goes to a similar position.
And the run back is called for again. Denmark's happy to just force Sweden to keep trying to make this shot. This time they'll get two.
Open up the center line. Now just the one stone. The only guards are the corners. If this misses just by a little bit, there's a chance they can hit and roll underneath.
Johnny Fredrickson with his first stone this second end. They might have left half a rock exposed on the intern side. Small half.
It is a small half of that one, but they guard the right side of it if they're going to leave part of it open. It's a long run as we see the Swedish coach Eva Lund in behind Pia Lindholm and their alternate next to Eva, Oscar Eriksson.
Eva's longtime teammate Annette Norberg announcing her retirement this week.
Definitely a loss to the curling world, but she will have numerous medals to show for what is arguably the best women's curling career anywhere. Well, unable to get by, and we'll spin another Denmark stone in.
Take you over to sheet D, Russia and the USA. USA sitting at 4 and 5. They need to win this game and get some help to get into the playoffs. Russian skip Andrei Drozdov with hammer here in the first end. He's already lying one, looking to draw for a second point. This team, of course, will be the host at the Sochi Olympics, so they'll be there. So this is a good training run for them. And he will put that draw right on the tee line to pick up his deuce in the first end. Russia leads 2-0.
And Russia been in a lot of their games. It's a 2-7 record. Sometimes you think they're that easy game come through, but they've really battled. They took Canada to the end. They've really went back and forth, and that one comes close. You see James Dryber in the middle talking with Oscar Eriksson, Lars Villant on the right. But James actually played with Pia Lindholm in 2007 for Sweden with Victor Schall as the lead. So lots of connections there.
And he's originally from Scotland, so I think he might have either played with or against Murdoch and Brewster and those guys in junior, perhaps.
And still lives in Stockholm, but coaches this Denmark team. Sebastian Kropp trying to get them all going. Gets two. Very nice, able to play that big weight, spill it out. Well, able to get them all moving as that one comes right at you, gets it out of the rings, stays in play. Just that one Denmark stone now in the house.
Czech Republic also comes in with a 5-4 record. They need to win both their games. First end, Japanese skip
Yusuke Morozumi, and at 3-6, they got their first win. Both these teams actually beating Canada for the first time in World Championship history. Big wins for them. A draw against a couple here, try and get one. Just guiding this one in. Morozumi admitted very nervous playing against Canada with the lead. Got 2 threes and ended up making the hit to win it. And they will try and win their 4th game. Here they lead 1-0. But Czech Republic, one win today, they'll have their best World Championship record. Their previous best, 5-6.
So they've already equaled their best record. SWE-DEN with his first stone here in the second end.
He wants to run this back. He'll, if he can nose it, he can sit buried or kick it over, try and get behind the corner. So try and get it right on the nose. Don't roll, and there it sits, top 4 foot. It's the problem. You bring that guard tight. Well, that guard was tight for Nicholas Dean. It was his own stone to go right in behind.
And that's the shot that he has in his arsenal.
Just saw a little
not
extra.
Not afraid to run those run backs.
Little more intensity from this Swedish team. They know they need to get a couple of wins today and put a complete game together if they want to get to the playoffs. Rasmus Sterne looking to follow right up with a run back of his own. Well, doesn't want to go nose. Will it spill it all the way out of the rings? It will do just that. So very nice, able to follow up the run back by Edin. Rasmus, same thing, and I think they can see enough of this one to peel it out and get the blank.
Kraup was just making sure that that jam at the back doesn't leave a biter, but it's well out of the rings. So final stone of the second end for Nicholas Edin, looking for a second consecutive blank.
Well, get by the front and we'll make the hit. It's not going to spin far enough. It's going to stick around. So the missed chance there. It's 1 for Sweden. They just got by the front. So we're through two ends. It's 1-0 Sweden over Denmark.
Scotland coming into this draw in a first-place tie with Canada at 7-2, taking on the Chinese. First end, David Murdoch with the hammer, looking to pick up a deuce against China, who's one of those teams locked at 5-4, tied for that final playoff spot right now.
And China also in the running, try and get one of those straight Olympic qualifying berths for their nation. They came in 6th. Right now behind Denmark and need a couple of wins here today. Ensure that they will go straight to Sochi. Murdoch gets an early 2 for Scotland. Good start for them.
Much to the delight of the many Scottish fans that are here this week. Inside the Save-On Foods Memorial Centre in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Our feature game is Sweden versus Denmark. The third end is just underway. Sweden's first stone was a centerline guard. Trolls Harry now draws behind it. Nice line and nice weight. Victor Schell will now attempt to freeze down to that stone.
Well, just to the top of the 8-foot, important to keep the line, try and set up the angles. Well, just not wanting to line it up, needed to get a hair across center. They do just that. So still, shots don't top the 4-foot. Lots of room to get that another point in later in the end.
Looks like a faulty handle.
So they're going to call an official out just to make sure that they know. So
there's sensors in the stone that reset, are supposed to reset when you flip the rock over to clean it. Seen a few of these this week. Handles needing to be changed.
Definitely a better system, as you'll see the official goes on the hog line. Just keep an eye where they normally would stand. Before this system, the eye on the hog system that they use with the sensor in the ice and in the rock, they'd have two officials sitting on each side of the hog line watching all 4 sheets and making the calls.
Making sure that the thrower releases the rock before the hog line.
And it's when the rock touches the hog line, they have to have it released by. So only seen a couple stones pulled this week from that. And the light will flash red.
So Lindbergh will guard up the situation in the house.
So going the other way. Got to be careful they don't change anything and leave a double.
Yeah, left that too long. Rex on the front.
2 options. You can run the red in, which they're looking at. You could play the yellow and try and pick that one off, or just nose it.
They'll just nose that stone that was just delivered. Slight inside roll from Lindbergh.
Well, real early in the end, you still don't need to make a play at the 4-foot yet. That's why you may have thought, why wouldn't you have played the double? But the roll underneath doesn't leave a lot of angles and leaves numerous options for Sweden.
Nice double peel there from Poulsen.
Important thing, leaving the shooter where it is that they can use and nothing that Sweden can run back.
Kör clearing. Träffar du köpen så är det också bra. Okej. Köpen så gör man den exakt.
Well, this is an option they looked at the last one. Sebastian Kraup, in turn, run this one straight. Well, on a bit of an angle into the pack. Well, run it back. Needed to hit it a hair on the high side in order to get both yellows out. That leaves shot stone top 8 foot belonging to Team Sweden. Well, trying to run this back. They want to stick the shooter they're running back. That's the quiet wait. Have enough, catch it, stay underneath, roll just out in the open. So those two counters right now for Denmark with the hammer. So a big chance, try and hit and roll, get out of the giving up a deuce. If Kraup can make this hit and roll. Well, make the hit. How far will it roll as it goes over to the other side in behind that Yellowstone and sit for shot rock? Well, trying to make the hit and the flip. And will go right in behind. It looked like it might go a little further as it sticks around, forces to get at it. The yellow straight back. Well, playing it quiet, trying to promote their own. Now just trying to chip it in. Make sure they can get shot stone as the shooter rolls off. That one goes back button. Make a little more weight there, trying to tap it onto the red. Keep the shooter on the nose. Now a freeze and steal a real possibility now.
Yeah, that stone just slightly behind the tee line, so SWE-DEN can come down to it and be shot stone.
Nicholas SWE-DEN, his first. Trying to play the freeze. He can actually move it a little bit and get shot.
Needs to finish.
Well, not the result they wanted. They wanted that to curl and get to the nose of that yellow. Instead, just chips off and sits on the side of it.
It was good weight. Needed to curl another 8 inches or so.
Altså, spiller en T-line, og så fejrer den lige, og så taber vi den lidt på indersiden. Hvad siger du? 0-5? 0-0.
Well, they were worried about the stone earlier. They come out, they'll fix the handle, make sure the battery's good. And Hans Wutrich, chief ice technician, puts it right back on the ice. All good to go. They do have replacement handles that they can put on rather than put a battery in or anything. They'll just put the new handle on. Well, they want to try and get to the nose. They just saw Nicholas Edin's not curl for them. Need to just tap this back a hair. And I don't think they move it far enough to lie to, but that Yellowstone is dangerous where it is.
Take you over to sheet B for the Czech Republic and Japan.
Czechs lying two here, and Jiří Needle draw maybe a little redirect off a side stone in the 8-foot, try and get a third point. Looking to, with a win, set a personal best record no matter whether they make the playoffs or not. A 6th win would give them an over 500 record for the first time. This one get a little redirect, no rub, right to the side of the button, right beside, so 3 all touching the button.
Nice touch there. So the Czechs take a 3-1 lead over Japan after 2 ends.
Talk about setting a personal best, a record above 500, but now Czech Republic has to set their sights on making the playoffs here.
Yeah, it's a different mindset for them.
Last year, just 2 wins. They finished 12th.
Men det är lite lurigt för att har jag för mycket fart så får jag inte kalla över. För här gör det inget alls. Då har jag fortfarande lätt pet eller
So on our feature sheet, Denmark with the hammer, lying 1. They would only need to touch that top yellow a couple inches for that second point. So Nicholas Edin wants to guard that side of the sheet up.
Topp 12. Gör man runt lite grann. Han behöver bara nudda den där stenen för att få 2.
Jeg er sikker på, den køler over. Køler op på toppen. Det ligger sådan her. Ja, fordi jeg tror, altså...
So final stone just protecting the way the 4-foot's sitting. That stone in front of the tee line. Dangerous rock. Trying to take away the tap and the run back if they can with this. It might have over-curled. I think it did over-curl. Leaves that quiet tap. They're so worried about the run back option for 3. Can you make it?
Well,
tap it?
Yeah, they move it a foot, they'll get 3.
Have to get to the nose, though. That's the problem, as you do risk touching that top red stone. There, it looks a little harder with that look.
Basically just need to touch it to get a second point, or tap it back onto that red to get 3.
Samme is, ja. Er det ikke samme is? Bare do det til 2.
Well, 2 huge, 3 even bigger. You can get that extra point.
Big opportunity here for Rasmus Stern and Team Denmark in the 3rd end.
Mom and dad of Rasmus. Right near the sheet. We'll be hoping their young son can come up with this out-turn tap. Big shot for the Danish skip. Got to get it past the front.
Big scrub from the front end.
Get by the red. They're by. Now tap it back. Move it far enough to get 3.
Don't think so.
They'll get 2. They don't push it far enough. Great effort. Couldn't have played it much better than that. As Tommy Stern, happy his son, gets a deuce for Denmark. As they lead 2-1 after 3 ends.
Næsten sikker på, at man gerne, da jeg havde dem halvvejs. Kom ikke lige så langt ud med det.
Here you see the big scrub from Harry and Poulsen. Just get by that top red, but they aren't quite able to tap that Swedish stone out enough to get the 3. Just by the guard. Nice effort. Denmark will have to settle for 2, though, in the third end. Welcome back inside the Victoria's Save On Foods Memorial Center. This is draw 15 action for the Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Denmark picking up 2 there in the third. So Trolls Harry throws the first stone into the top of the 12-foot. Sweden will now throw up a corner guard. Victor Schell curling 89% coming into this game. Puts in 5th among all the leads. Trolls Harry at 86%.
Well, it's all about early rock positioning, and the first one not quite to the 4-foot where they want it to start and end. That one trying to come around just chips the front. Now no centerline guards. A chance here to play hit and roll. Use the corner for Niklas Edin, Sweden.
This one needs to move.
Well,
sails right by everything.
That's 2 big misses in the game from Victor Schell. That one slides right by. Doesn't get anything. Now there can be a centerline guard put up. They can play a little tap, but I think the guard here is the best bet to try and make the hit and roll behind the corner tough.
Just going to peel the guard instead. Mikkel Poulsen curling 87%, heading into draw 15.
And that might have been Johnny from the other end. Maybe suggesting, let's peel the guard, let's keep it simple. The rocks and the rings aren't exactly where we want set up. Looking to peel the corner and rolls over as a corner guard to the other side.
Fredrik Lindberg curling 85%.
Well, no roll, just sits top 8 foot. Really a good position for this Denmark team after getting 2 in that last end. You get a good look, you see the lights go green on that handle. That meaning releasing it before the hog line. Mikkel Poulsen, nose hit, and you can control the center of the rings and those stones out in front. Rolls away still. Couple different options now for Niklas Edin.
He's just going to ignore both those yellow Danish stones and draw in behind the corner guard.
Well, we're hoping for maybe a little rub. Goes back part of the rings. It does sit for shot stone. But wanted that one top 8 foot. Even a little tap would have been, or chip off the top would have been all right. Johnny Fredriksson, 86%, heading into this final day of round robin play. Well, get by the front. They're through. Now have enough to make contact and roll to the center. Lie 3.
Nicely done. Denmark lies 3 without the hammer here in 4. Sebastian Kraup is the 6th ranked third player through 9 games.
Well, still trying to play an aggressive shot, trying to set up a score of 2 if you can.
Taking now over to sheet C, Scotland and China. Looks like China lying 1 at the back of that pack of stones at the top of the 4 foot. David Murdoch leading 2-1 with the hammer here in the 3rd. He's just playing a quiet tap.
Just trying to push this one in. Got a force in the second end. So this, just trying to make sure they get their 1. And nicely done. Murdoch able to get his 1, so up 3-1. As we see, Rasmus Stern and Johnny Fredriksson runs that one straight back, gets rid of it. Murdoch the last time he was here in this venue. He ended up taking home a silver medal, losing the final to Randy Furby and Team Canada.
Scotland has won silver at the last 2 championships, losing to Canada in both 2011 and 2012.
Well, they want to take it down to the back one, so that same shot is not available. Their back button. Awfully tempting to think about playing a freeze now.
It is. I think they're going to try to just pick it out, though. Or the run back again. That's what Rasmus wants.
But you know this spot, you just threw it, go straight back. Can actually, if you make this, roll just a little bit and sit buried. 80% on the week so far for Rasmus. Trying to run this one back. Pick the red out and will sit side of the 8-foot.
Denmark lies 3 once again.
Sweden
Possibly
keeps trying.
4.
Looks like it is just biting top of the rings, and Sweden keeps trying, but Denmark just been able to come up with shot after shot and get rid of any red stone in play.
Och vi fryser precis här vid skottet. Kommer vi inte ända ner så lämnar nästan 10-line. Så kommer vi bara precis bakom. Man kan ju välja att frysa det också. Det är jävligt jobbigt att få en poäng. Man försöker få ner den här på normala farter. Det går lättare där det är rakare. Sätta han på några fart som man har haft tidigare. Ja, jag tror att Adrian har 95.
So Nicholas Edin curling 83% coming into this game. Looking to draw in somewhere where Stern will not remove it this time. Trying to generate a deuce.
This one they take right down to it. Little tap. Schall and Lindberg with a great scrub to take it right down to it.
Well, there's no run back now that would jam. So Stern is just going to follow that stone down and try to freeze it perfectly so that the Dean cannot remove it. You see the scores for the players thus far on their shots. Each shot is worth 4 points. If you make it perfectly, you get 4.
See Lars Valant doing that for this Denmark team. Their alternate player. Well, they want this right down to it. Can't afford to bounce and roll off at all. And Rasmus is right on.
That should do the trick. That'll force Edin to just follow it down and take his single point.
Lidt godt noget, så lige holde retningen rundt.
Well, Rasmus has been on a roll. They started 0-2, won 6 of 7. The only loss in that to Switzerland yesterday. Nicholas SWE-DEN trying to snap a 3-game losing streak he's on. This final day of round robin play. Drawing down, trying to get their one. Nicely done, right to the backing. Nicholas SWE-DEN and Sweden will tie this game up, but only able to get one. The bronze medalist from a year ago, all square with Denmark after 4 ends.
Heading over now to sheet D for Russia and United States. Playing the 4th end. USA lying 2. Russian skip Andrei Drozdov looking to play spoiler and eliminate the United States hopes of any playoffs this year. Russia coming in with a 2-7 record. There you see the big height difference in those two sweepers. Just drawing for a single point here.
Well, they had to wait to get past that corner guard. They get by, and high five for the front end. They guide that one in, so the Russians get one, lead 3-2 through 4 ends. As you see the school kids here on the Thursday morning with the Russian flag, become Team Russia fans.
Our game is in the 5th end. Sweden forced to take a single point there in the 4th. Denmark will have the hammer here in 5.
So center line guard to start things off as Denmark gets the hammer. Last time they had the hammer, they scored a deuce. Well, change of plans. They're going to try and go around a little more weight, and Victor Schall's been off. Very strange. Normally you see him making that freeze, just bounces off, and now early advantage Denmark in this 5th end of play.
Hit and roll out.
Well, just that little bit more weight. A rare hit for the lead Trolls, Harry. As he rolls out of the rings, and Fredrik Lindberg now can play that freeze on shot stone.
Linje också. Linjen är bra. Farten är bra. Japp. Behöver gå nu, behöver gå. Ända ner och dutta lite om det går. Kör.
Trying to drag this back to a freeze position.
When important, you try and get it close, knowing that it's your guard. You can play that one straight back. The little bit of separation makes the run back shot a little more difficult because the distance between.
En liten dutt på den.
When you see the freeze, it not quite on the nose of that redstone. Almost could play the double, but not quite, because there is the separation between the red and the yellow that is shot stone.
Sweepers backing right off this one.
Just overthrown a bit. We'll chip off it.
That'll roll into the open.
Well, just the way the angles are, I think Rasmus is trying to see if they knows, what do they leave? Do they want to try and get a little inside and bump their yellow, line theirs up? I think just hit and roll in front now for Mikkel Poulsen.
Just get a nose hit.
Trying to find out if that double is available.
If you just hair that top red guard, I think the angles would be right. But that would leave the shooter in the open. So I think Krupp is just playing a more quiet weight at this. He's trying to tap those two yellows back.
Well, spell it out, and we'll still stay in the 8-foot as what looks like shot stone. They couldn't have got by that guard with a lot more room.
No.
Important thing was where they kept the shooter that is still in a dangerous position they can utilize. Unless the hit and roll is made underneath. It's been Denmark sharp in this one. Sweden just a little bit off. It's Johnny Fredriksson trying to make that inside roll. Denmark not just looking at trying to make the playoffs. They want to ensure a straight berth into the Olympics. Johnny Fredriksson was in Denmark in 2010 in Vancouver. They're trying to get there again as Johnny makes the nose hit. Johnny skipping that team in Vancouver.
2 wins today for Denmark over Sweden and Canada would put them in the 1-2 game this weekend as well.
med. Den. Det är risk för den bara, men... Okej. Ja, okej. Jag kan köra den. Det är fler på den också, men... Niklas! Ja, vi kan köra den. Vi kan köra den. Kom, vi måste göra det med mig sen ändå. Okej.
Well, a single red, top of the top 12 foot, pardon me. Try and play the double. Worried about the jam on that side stone. They want to go over the top of it.
60% ish. Kör 8. Jag träffar på översidan.
Well, they want the inside to make this double. Well, they'll end up making the double, including their own. Not been on this Sweden team. Pressure's been on them to make shots. They haven't been able to come up with them. Now Denmark lying 2.
With the hammer, so they've got a potential big end on their hands. Taking now over to the Czech Republic and Japan. Japan lying 3. Czech skip E.G. Snittel in the playoff picture. Not too many people would have thought that would happen at the beginning of the week, but he's sitting at 5-4 now. Needs to draw against 3 for a single point here in the 4th end.
Well, needs to set full 4 foot, and will do that. So Schneidel able to get the 4-3 lead on sheet B. Czech Republic and Schneidel coming off a bronze medal at the Europeans in December. It was this Swedish team that was the European champions in their hometown of Karlstad, Sweden. Fredriksson makes the nice little tap. Denmark just firing on all cylinders now. Hadn't played a lot in the last little bit, just in practice, getting ready for this event. So first couple games were getting a little bit of rust off of their game action, and have won 6 of 7 since losing their first 2 games. Well, lots of reason to smile for Denmark right now. Sweden and Nicholas Edin looking for the hit and roll. Just to try and get a piece now.
And a big miss there from Edin. Very uncharacteristic.
It's not. Nicholas Edin, we even saw in their game against Norway yesterday. You start reeling a little bit and you put the pressure on. Even Schall Lindberg just touched that one over. They had to go hard just to get any contact on it. Going to be facing 4 now, coming up with his final stone without the hammer in this 5th end.
Scotland and China playing on sheet C. Scotland here lying 2. Chinese skip Liu Rui Trying to draw for a single point in the fourth end. China still in the playoff picture as well. One of those 5 teams sitting at 5-4. 4 teams at 5-4, excuse me.
That's a big one for both teams. Scotland can set themselves up in a good position. A win, they're in the playoffs for sure. Standing still to be determined, but a win puts them there, can take the pressure off. They'll play Finland this afternoon. Now trying to get the inside tucked so they don't leave a double for Nicholas SWE-DEN.
Well, there's a pretty straightforward double there, but that would be conceding 3. But if SWE-DEN chose to draw somewhere, he could be risking 5.
Får han jobbigare att ta mer än 2. Han kan inte slå på det direkt så, för då kan han, om vi får den perfekt.
Not a good situation for Sweden
Jag
here.
gillar den, ja. Han kan spela den då.
Säg att jag får en liten dutt liksom så. Och chapp för 5.
Jo, men.
Skulle kunna dubbla och släppa 3 också. Ja. Missar den här frysningen så är matchen borta liksom. Att ticka i den här och hamna här. Chapp för 5.
Very concerned Swedish contingent there.
Utsida heller, då är chapp för 4 via den ut så.
Kommer det chappfryst?
Jag måste in minst chappfryst och då är det risk. Alltså det är en dess ifrån och pricka den här. Klickar vi den så är det 5.
Kan det komma hit också med stenen?
Ja, alltså kan. Men jag säger, risken är att jag klickar den där och tappar 5 av matchen. Det är det jag säger.
Not a position you want to be in. Must-win game is now facing those 4 stones, 4 counters. I think just trying to freeze to that top one, force them to draw for 3, or just draw right in. Have to just get by their own, get a little tap and roll off that top yellow 4-foot stone. I think that is what I was looking at, the one just on the left side of the 4-foot. Get freeze to it as well, force a wide draw to try and get a 3rd point. Giving up 2 in the end would be a real good feat for Sweden.
So a big shot here for Nicholas SWE-DEN. Trying to bail his team out.
Well, Schall Lindstrom again. Just trying to freeze that one. And very nice, able to
shot.
Get one in there. That could be a game saver. Does leave a shot for 3, but knew that that was an option. Better than another option that could have left a shot for 5.
Det bliver bare indlæg, så de fejrer til 10-lejen, så taber det.
Great shot from SWE-DEN there. Forces Stern to make a more difficult hit for 3 rather than just a wide open hit.
And he still has to make the shot to get 3, the outturn. A 5-2 game, much better than a 7-2 game or a 6-2 game. So Nicholas SWE-DEN, a perfect shot to limit this for 3. Rasmus Stern and Denmark. Harry and Poulsen on this one now for Denmark.
Denmark lies 2, trying to pick up a 3rd point
Do
here.
they have it far enough? Get it into the 4-foot. And there, the 3. So a deuce in the 3rd, 3 in the 5th. And it is 5-2. Denmark is on a roll trying to get to the playoffs and an Olympic berth in Victoria.
So Denmark leads 5-2 at the break. Here's how we got there. First end was a blank in the second. Nicholas SWE-DEN with a blank attempt. But his shooter will not roll out. So Sweden takes a 1-0 lead. On to the 3rd now. Denmark has a quiet tap. Could be for 3 here if he's able to remove or move the Swedish redstone just a little bit light. So Denmark will have to settle for a deuce and a 2-1 lead. On to the 4th now. Denmark with Sweden in trouble most of the end. Rasmus Stern's freeze forces SWE-DEN to draw for a single point. And he will put that on the back of the 4-foot. It was 2-2 at that point. And then the big 3 for Denmark in 5 makes it a 5-2 game at the break. Russia and USA over on sheet D.
It's all you guys. It's all you.
USA lying 1. And a pretty open draw for Brady Clark, coming in with a record of 4-5. Trying to pick up a 2nd point.
Be right on the button.
This team from not too far away in Seattle, Washington. And Clark will put it on the button for a deuce in 5 to take a 4-3 lead over Russia. Your other scores in this draw: 15, Czech Republic with a 4-3 lead over Japan. Scotland sitting in first place right now with a 3-2 lead over China. And you just saw the United States leading Russia 4-3 at their break.
För dem är den här matchen också viktig. Så men bara ni visar nu att ni inte hänger med axlarna. Visa att ni går... Alltså ni måste öka er energi nu. Visa att ni står upp för den här resultaten. Att ni står för den här. Det är liksom inget problem. Det är så här. Ni står upp för varandra. Ni står upp för det här resultatet nu. Så kan ni bli det.
Our stats through the first 5 ends: Denmark leads 5-2 on the scoreboard. outplaying Sweden 91% to 79 as a team. And edges there on draws and hits as well, hitting at 96%. No points stolen, but Denmark with the 2 big multi-point ends gives them a 5-2 lead through 5.
The 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Sweden, Denmark have played numerous times. This their 38th game against one another in World Championship history. Sweden with a 23 and 14 edge in wins. Denmark trying to get to the playoffs. A win here would help their case. Also qualifying for Olympics.
Victor Schall 78% through 5 ends.
And he's missed some early, which has forced the Swedish team to have to chase in a lot of ends. A couple of open misses, complete misses.
Led to Denmark having Sweden on the ropes for the entire end. And if not for that perfect freeze by Niklas Edin with his final stone, we could have had 4 or 5 for Denmark instead of 3. Trolls Harry curling 90%.
Denmark with 2 wins today can get in to the 1-2 game with a chance to get to the final. See that guard protects, doesn't guard it perfectly, but guards the right side if they're going to miss a little bit. See center line guard out in front, looking for the freeze. Victor Schall. Got to get past the front.
Just a bit rubbed.
Touch it again. Another little miscue, but they'll be fortunate with the quiet weight that it will still curl at the end to get top 8 foot.
Polson curling 90% as well.
Well, try and get around that one. Will curl past that redstone, curl past their own, and sit side by each. As that one warps in there. 80% for Lindberg on the game.
Trying to freeze into that crotch of those 2 stones.
Well, right in, and that's the problem. Now looking to play that guard because of the position of those stones. We'll end up rolling over, getting rid of both guards, leaving just the one out in front.
center för det. Bestäm dig. Ja. Samma fart. Farten är full 4. Ja, vi är på 10. Aldrig någonsin. Full 4. Sätter sig nu. Full 4.
Well, trying to line up those stones, and important keeping rocks around. Does set up a double. You might see some big weight.
Sheet C, Scotland and China. China lying one at the top of the button there. David Murdoch coming in with a 7-2 record with the hammer here in the fifth end.
Well, of note, this Scotland team without Tom Brewster in the lineup today. You have the rotation of the 4 players for the lead, second, and vice position. Greg Drummond is the vice.
You see that stone just didn't curl enough, didn't get a piece of the button which it needed. So a steal for China here in the fifth, and they will head to their break all tied at 3.
All of the hits it's that Yellowstone in a nice spot, all clustered. Right in the forefoot.
Måste vara lång den här också.
Vänta, helt upp, helt upp.
It's all important, trying to set up the angle with this. And very nice, right into the crotch. It is still 1-2 for Denmark, but those Yellowstones are helping Sweden right now.
Yeah, any contact on those top stones and the back yellows will be gone.
Well, Johnny Fredrickson, the experienced third, 93% in the game. He's trying to get into the playoffs at a world championship. Denmark has never finished better than third at a Worlds. They've done that twice, including Rasmus's father, Tommy, in 1990. Just 2 bronze medals. And even with that big weight, only 1 stone goes away. It's one of those yellows. A deuce important for Niklas Edin in this end.
Denmark did lose one of their yellow stones in the forefoot there, but they're just looking further down the end where they'll eventually be able to move those reds out of the way. They're freed up a little bit now.
Försiktigt Viktor, försiktigt. Den kan vara lång. Jag tror den är lång. Jag tror den är lång ut. Gå, vänta.
Frys här.
Nej.
Så nära. Vänta då.
Bara,
Vänta då, linjen är helt okej.
bara rent. Bara rent. Mitt på linan med dig. Gå.
Stanna.
Well, guarding up the way things are, knowing they don't have the backing anymore.
Over to Czech Republic and Japan. Skip Yosuke Morozumi facing 2 Czech counters. Looking to draw for a single point here in the fifth end. Japan coming in with a record of 3-6. Czech Republic, one of those teams at 5-4. Need to win both their games today to have a chance at a tiebreaker. And this looks a little slick, but it will stop in time. So Japan picks up a single point.
Had lots of room to work with there for Morozumi, so a big point, gets right back in, battling with the Czech Republic. Skip stones left, and
Første indskyld til at fjerne den.
Rasmus and Johnny figuring out,
Spilleren den her.
as it is a shot stone right now for Sweden top button.
Eller hvad? Nej, men altså, jeg ved ikke, om det er dårligt, han spiller den her. Hvis han
Jamen, John, ligger du her, så har du også den der næste gang.
Skip stones remaining here in the 6th.
Det er simpelthen synd. Jeg tror faktisk, det er mere is, John. Det er mere is.
Well, Rasmus has the yellow on the right side of your screen to tap up later or slash in. I think right now he's worried about Sweden making the double on the left side.
Så sidder han 4 ved med, så skal jeg spille en triple eller sådan noget for at holde med til 4. Lige nu sidder vi 2-3, så hvis vi lægger den her perfekt, så har han svært ved at lave sin triple. 3-5.
So I think maybe if he can corner that red, take away some angle. Tommy Stern, 1990 bronze medalist, and Paul Trulsen sitting next to him. He's here with the Norwegian team. Of course, the 2002 Olympic gold medalist.
Sweeping this hard for line.
Right onto the nose of that red stone. I think that double might still just be there.
Over to sheet D, Russia and the USA. Russian skip Andrei Drozdov with the last stone here in their 6th end.
He has to try and get past the front, make a little bit of a tap, the stone that's behind, try and get a deuce.
Sweepers going at it hard. They rub off the front, and it just slides through the forefoot.
Just have to look to make sure what it is, and Russia indicates it's the 1. The U.S. will agree as well, so a single point instead of 2 for Russia. So close to getting that 2 in the lead. They're through 6.
Ligger så. I och för sig möjligt att den precis smiter ovanför.
Jag tänker, missar han den här, men säg vi klipper det här, han missar skjutningen, han kan sätta ner den här.
Ja, han spelade, de står 3 stycken ner.
Och jag vet. Men då, den här kommer jag aldrig ta vägen någonstans. Det kommer ju garanterat på 2. Visst, det kan ju kräma ur en 3 också, men det är om man sätter det. Man kan lika gärna tappa mer på det också. Men,
Okej, men vi kör det. Jag håller med.
utanför att den lägger sig lite fel med den.
Tror den kommer kvala lite här. Det var här jag kvalade över någon gång när jag inte trodde det skulle kvala så mycket.
Jag tycker slå, antingen sitta här eller rulla av.
Ja, clearing så.
Ja.
Ja, svårt att ligga kvar tror jag ändå med clearing.
Det är bra.
Halvträff känns som det räcker va? En touch mer.
Looking at the double takeout here to lie 2.
Dubblar de där. Kan vi sitta på kanten så är det väl en bonus.
Have to be quite precise here for that top yellow to squeeze through.
No touching their own, do they? I don't think they can keep their shooter and make this.
No.
I think we'll see a rocket here from Nicholas to get both of them out. Has the hammer. Big. 2 points if they can get it. Well, get by, make the double.
There it goes, does not touch their back red. And the shooter stays in play. Sweden lies 2.
Does stick around and actually might help Rasmus or give him someone an out later on. Big weight goes just underneath of that red. That's the shot in his arsenal that he throws as well as anyone in the game.
Hvis du holder den derinde, så skal han også ud og spille efter. Du kan få det til at sætte sig her fint, hvis du ikke gør. Altså det vigtigste er, at den der kløver af. Jeg vil sige 10, Johnny, udefra. 10. Mere is. Lidt mere is. Det er pretty sweet, altså. Godt bare. 10 og slashen over i. Vi sidder 2 oppe i toppen. Ja. Eller 3 oppe i toppen, ikke? Ja. Vi får en indlæg til 2, det må være, fordi vi arbejder med. Ja.
So final stone here for Rasmus Stern in 6.
Has that 3-point lead, doesn't want to give up 2. Trying to slash that one on, move him around. Gets rid of 1, and the shooter slides over to the side of the 4-foot.
Sweden lies 1. But I think the most they're getting here is 2.
They'll take a look, because if they are shot stone top of the 8-foot, they can draw for it. They don't have to move that back one. If it's close, I'm sure they'll make a play on that red stone.
Looks from the overhead camera that it's red.
Jag tycker det känns svår, men jag är inte säker.
Jag tycker det jättekänns svår, men okej.
Because they did kick that yellow out to the side, and it's partially protected by that corner guard that's in play.
Ta en titt, Hede. Jag känner mig säker på att det är den.
Going to bring in the front end. Each team normally has a set of eyes that'll look at it. Here it's Lindberg.
That might be majority rules in this case.
Det curlar ju jävligt mycket där bara. Eller ja, det har ju gjort det. Det går ju rakt på out. Alltså det är frågan hur mycket det curlar där. Den här dragningen är lite tight ändå.
Jag tycker att dragningen känns... Kan du spela dragningen här som Rasmus spelar med lite rakare is?
Ja, jag har ju... Ja. Min dragning för 1 där som gick frysning, som hade utkat 8. Bara passera den här någonstans måste jag vara innanför här ändå.
Ja, jag tänker att man spelar den så här som de spelar på 10 dragningen, så tror jag det går ganska rakt.
Här är bra.
Det går ju styra så också.
Ja, inte 100, men jag tror det. Ja, annars så är det ganska dumt att spela på den här.
Om båda ni tror det så är det.
You surprised, Luke, that they're not throwing the intern draw at this?
I think they're worried that they'd have to get by that center line guard too tightly, and that in order to get down to it, you'd almost have to play the hit if you're playing down to it. I think they're pretty certain they're shot stone, so drawing for the single point or the extra point. And here they'll have to make sure they give themselves room to get past those stones top of the 8-foot.
So final stone for Niklas Edin and Team Sweden here in the 6th. They need 2 points to get back in this game. Sweeper's just cleaning it. Here comes the break. They need to go hard.
Well, they used the little touch. I think they were talking maybe a hair heavy, and they use it. Be one for sure, and probably see a stick on this one for the second point. So they'll bring the official out to measure that one. Say a big extra point if it is for Sweden. It would get them back within 1 in this matchup. Rick, you said initially you thought it was that red stone.
Sweden obviously did too, or at least hoped it was, because they didn't make a play on the yellow.
Of course, all these events, they have the officials that will come out do the measurement. And all these measurements always done clockwise.
Yeah, the stick spins in a clockwise direction. If you want to get a second look, you have to go all the way around in the same clockwise direction. And it is red.
So a big 2. Sweden now back within 1. Here it's draw 15, the final day of round robin play. Sweden trails by a single point.
There you see some of the school children here this morning, cheering for all sorts of teams. Those ones are cheering for Scotland. Sweden picking up that big 2 points in the 6th end to trim Denmark's lead to a single point. Denmark will have the hammer now in 7.
Well, Sweden gets their 2, I'm sure, in their 5th end break. They said, let's get our 2 back. Let's get a force. They got the 2. Now they need to get a force. Important lead stones for Victor Shaw. Goes centerline guard. Very nice, right in behind.
Over on sheet C, Scotland-China tied at 3. Scotland lying 1 on the button. David Murdoch with a delicate draw, needs to draw up to his shot stone to pick up a second point. Can't afford to bounce off or tap it back too far. This one looks close. And good line and weight there from Murdoch. Good bounce back after giving up the steal in the 5th. Scotland takes a 5-3 lead after 6 ends. That corner freeze attempt will bounce off.
Kom igen, dreng.
Now Nicholas Dean asks for a freeze onto the other red stone.
Well, these early shots, all about just trying to set up your angles and give yourself a chance later on. Very important. We saw a couple misses by Victor Shaw in setting up angles early in the game, led to a couple of big ends by Denmark. Now Frederick Lindberg trying to get in behind and line things up, but can't get by the guard. Not enough weight. Crashes on the front. Well, they're hoping to maybe get rid of the other red in the process, but that catches it a little thinner, probably pushes that red into the rings. Instead, clears the front.
Ja, hela den ja. Jag tänker skjut ner efter vilka center. Så.
Den, ja.
Ja,
Okej.
den gillar jag. Skjut ner den ute på den normala. Visst man får vicka in. Så tycker jag.
Kör så med en 10.
Ja, är det normal eller? Vart är tyskarna?
10. Niklas, är du 10 eller 9?
10.
Bra fart. En. Nej, nej, nej. 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 Nej, nej, nej.
Well, they want to use this guard, want to try and right onto the yellow, line things up. They'll overlap, just change the angle just a hair. Just rolls half a rock less, and it's perfect. Lines up right onto the red, or pardon me, the yellow. Now they don't line up. Well, trying to run this one back, Mikkel Poulsen. Well, clears the guard and gets rid of one of the two reds. Pushes the one in. It is shot stone, and now Nicholas Edin and Sweden. Chance to hit lie 2.
Jag la ut den. Nej! Ta vilken, gå!
Well, they try and make a bit of a roll so that this double isn't there. It's not easy, but it is available for Denmark to get after it. Well, try and make the double and makes it look easy. Picks that one out. Sit 1. As we look over Russia against the USA. 2-7 Russia, 4-5 US. US needs to win out. And facing multiple Russian counters in the rings. Brady Clark out of Seattle, Washington. Trying to get a single point A tie game. Got to get past the front. As you see, has two in the house. Get by, and you're able to try and tap it back. Or chip off it. Unable to get around, rolls in, and gives up a single point stolen to the Russians. So 5-4. Russia leading the U.S. After 7 ends, Russia trying to play spoiler. A loss would eliminate Brady Clark from any chance at the playoffs. USA will be back on the ice this afternoon. They'll take on Norway to finish round robin, while Russia plays Norway in the final draw tonight.
Brady Clark sitting at a record of 4-5. He's actually the top-ranked skip heading into this draw, so he's had to save his team on a lot of shots so far this week.
Well,
tap it back to the T line. That is behind cover.
Well, shot stone for Denmark, and now skip stones, Nicholas SWE-DEN. A couple options, could try and play the double. Risk is that you jam it on your own. Probably you'll play this in-turn draw and freeze to it. The Swedish bench watching on. Came down the 5th end break, and I'm sure was try and get a 2, get a force. They got 2 last end to get within 1. A force key for any sort of Swedish comeback in the second half of the game. Well, try and get right down to it. Perfect weight. May have overswept it a hair early that it didn't curl. They're trying to get to the inside so they could get shot stone. But perfect weight, that little bit of separation between those 2 stones. Been very impressed with Rasmus in this game. Looking at the options, calling a very aggressive game. They've had their opportunities. Out-turn, tap, catch it high, they can go onto the red. They could go straight on the nose. Just 24 years old. Former world junior champion. Denmark's only world junior gold. Like another medal, this time at the men's world championship. While trying to keep the right angle right onto the red, and we'll go to the yellow, chip off of it. And by doing that, bouncing off, now a chance at the double. Doesn't even have to throw big weight, can just play it quiet.
Oh, that opened it up.
Just fractionally off. If that's,
you see the shooter just rolled open a little bit.
Well, he knows that little bit difference. If they hit that a little bit wider, they're in a gorgeous position. Instead, Nicholas put the pressure on.
Vi går dit helt okej.
Kör en
En
8.
åtta.
En 8 så skippar jag på den. Kommer hit.
Rullar av så gör det inte hela
exakt.
den heller. Men
Ja.
helst.
Tror sådär.
Säkra dubbeln i alla fall. Smita garden när det är risk att jag missar i dubbeln tror jag. Köpt så tickar vi ut den på kanten bara. Dubbel och helst ligga kvar. Vicka vi för lite. Att bli antingen nästan köpt och ligga mitt i gluggen. Eller vicka ut på sidan av fyrfoten bakom högra gula. Han har jävligt svår dag. Han måste nästan täpa då för 1. Den vicken bakom den gula är bäst. Försöker säkra dubbeln här. 8. Är det för mycket is? Det känns som en 2/3 i bästa fall den där isen. Halv kanske till och med. Var en centi mindre.
Nicholas Edin with his final stone here in the 7th end. Trying to remove 2 Danish stones and force Rasmus Stjerne into a single.
Well, just catches enough, punch that one out to lie 3. Awfully close to not touching that second one, and
Well, he barely got by the guard too.
gets by the guard and just holds the line enough to make that. Just show you how much a fraction of a difference you hit a stone. Rasmus makes his perfectly. Instead, he was a little bit off. Left the double, and Nicholas able to just hold on fractionally to spin both of them out.
Jag tror den är där.
Toppen lige ned. Hvad? Toppen lige ned, giver mig en. Ja. Sikker på, at man ikke kan spille trippel herfra?
Er det ikke det, der er slashen over i hans?
Well, last stone here,
Hvis du gør det, så laver du trippel.
knows to give up one or
Tror den er der, Johnny? I 4 fod. Tror den er der?
Not sure why he wouldn't just draw to the button.
now looking to see if he can get all of them.
Ikke fanger den der, så er der 2 ude. Altså, du skal være sikker på, at du får den der. Nej. Den er ned. Hvis du rammer garden, så får han 3.
That's a big risk.
9. Det er mere is.
Well, I think Nicholas Edin and Team Sweden have to be happy that you're getting Rasmus Stjerne playing this shot. There is some reward possibly if you can make it. This one, facing 3, will jam it and give up the steal of 2. So all of a sudden, come out of the break, a deuce by Sweden, a steal of 2 in the next, and Sweden now leads 6-5. We're through 7 ends, and Denmark will still have the hammer.
Det er mulighed for at vinde kampen.
Det gør det ikke nu.
Welcome back inside the Save On Foods Memorial Center. We are in the 8th end of this draw 15 match between Sweden and Denmark. There you see Sweden picking up 2 in the 6th and a steal of 2 in 7 to get back in this game and actually take the lead after trailing 5-2 at the break. Denmark will have the hammer here in 8.
Well, that 7th end will be one to remember in this one. Either way, either the steal by Sweden leading them to victory, or Denmark have to bounce back from it. As we look at the numbers, advantage to the Denmark side. Both hit numbers low for both leads. Victor Schall, 2 complete misses, which obviously will knock that number down.
Linjen är okej. Mitt på linan. Linjen är okej. Klara oss in. Bra. Fint.
I think both of his misses were in the ends that Denmark scored multiple points, so no coincidence there. You need your lead to set up your end for you.
Well, that freeze just a little bit short. Acts as a guard. Trolls Harry coming up a bit short. Talk about it, lead stones so vital. Now Fredrik Lindberg look to go around everything into the forefoot, get into a good steal position.
Sweden trying to steal for the 2nd straight end. Sweden's final game of the round robin will be tonight against Canada. Denmark will take on the Canadians this afternoon.
Well, might have changed their plan. I thought I saw an indication to come in, but leave the guard out in front, protecting the one top 8 foot. Force Denmark to play a peel. Again, Denmark looking for 1 win. As we look at the numbers of the second players, advantage again to the Denmark side. It's 4% between them. 1 win for Denmark would all but assure themselves a spot in the 2014 Olympics. As the miss of the peel, and things just turned from ugly to disastrous. This one just out a little bit, right by the top, right by the one in the rings. Nothing but air on that one. Fredrik Lindberg, his 2nd, put the guard up on his 1st.
And the tide is definitely turning this game. Denmark led 5-2 at one point. Now Sweden has the lead, and they have Denmark on the ropes this end.
Well, maybe just a hair deep by Lindberg, but gets in to lie 2. Well, I think you might be into it. Either you try and bail, play the double peel, or you play that freeze, but you miss that. You're in even more danger. So, Mikkel Poulsen, flash on his 1st. Looking for the double peel. Get 1, run it in, and very nice. Make up for his 1st one. Leaves that one back 4 foot.
Send you over to sheet D for an update on Russia and the USA. Russia leading 5-4, playing in the 8th end. USA lies 1, trying to pick up a second point here to retake the lead. Skip Brady Clark, the top-ranked skip coming into this game. He's played well, but his team has a 4-5 record. Trying to tap back that red stone, but it rubs off, and it'll just be a single point for the Americans. So they will tie things up after 8 against Russia.
Just unable to get that one out far enough. The sweepers couldn't hold it. Over curls. See if that's a big point missed by the States over there. Well, 8th end of our game, an important end either side to score. If Denmark gets a deuce, all of a sudden back in the lead, playing the 9th end. See how they rebound. That guard goes out for Sebastian Kraup. Johnny Fredrickson. Try and hit and roll off the guard. See if they can get one into the rings. Force Sweden to have to hit your stone as opposed to throwing the guard.
Johnny Fredrickson curling 95% thus far, including 100% on his hits.
Well, they want to stick around. They'll make the hit, but rolls out. So another opportunity to go and put that guard up as opposed to having to play the hit.
Kan vara lång där. Försiktigt. Jag tror den är lång. Topp 8. Linjen är bra, rent. Lägga bra nu. Tiden är perfekt.
Heden närmast.
Heden närmast.
Över Karla, är med nu.
Ja.
Gå nu.
Kör.
Well, they draw in, lie 2. That one in a good position, a very long guard, so be able to play it around that top one, get at it.
Update you on a couple other games. Czech Republic and Japan are tied at 5, playing in the 8th. And Scotland has a 5-4 lead over China.
Getting down to the last few ends of the first draw of 3 today. We're in for a fun day as we determine the playoff teams. The hit able to stick around, important for Johnny Fredrickson. See Sweden's game plan. They want to be aggressive, draw around, or you hit.
Tia så. Lite Karla längre ut, tror jag.
Ja, jag tror inte det går spikrakt.
Nej, jag tror inte heller.
Hard to tell with the broom there. That's a lot of ice if they're playing around.
Och sen så rundar vi igen och han gör samma slag. Då är vi nästan tvingade att göra det en gång till. Hoppas att de blir... Ja, jag tycker det är bra. Leder med också. Tia. Ja, lite mycket in, inte hela världen. Sätt han dubbeln så nollar vi åt dem.
I think playing the draw.
Yeah. It's going to say maybe just playing the hit.
Well, the draw could be an option, but playing it at that one on the side. Well, try and roll it a little bit closer, but creates a bit of a pocket now. Could actually play the double, try and roll over behind the corner and get some spin in front of the tee line.
Or hit and roll in front of that redstone that's just behind the tee line. Hit the one on the right and roll into a freeze position on the one on the left.
spille den sådan ret femset. Så spille den der på landen der. Nu ser jeg noget kø. Så bare overvarme, hvis der er noget. Men om du skal spille den der. Og så ikke bare lægge ovenpå. Det gør han selvfølgelig også, selvom han ikke gør det. Spil den der. Jeg kan godt lide det der rulle der. Derfra. Bare må rulle ind foran. Ind foran. Okay, jeg tror, du vil lære den der. Nej, jeg sagde, at vi spiller den der ind foran. Ja. 10, 11.
So Rasmus Stern trying to respond with that deuce that was stolen by Sweden last end with a deuce of his own. I think the call here is to hit and roll in front of that second red stone. See Stern's numbers, 80%. He was higher than that until those last couple ends when he's given up 4 points to Sweden altogether. There's the hit, and he will roll a bit too far. Sweden is still shot stone.
Now allows him to draw. He doesn't have to hit. Could hit.
You could corner freeze to that yellow stone, lie two, and block the path to the button for Stern.
Där är ju det bästa. Frågan hur du curlar bara. Kommer jag upp chatt så har jag hur enkelt som helst på den där. Jag har ju haft mer curl. När jag drog för ettan tickade ändå i centern där och då hade vi is här någonstans. Jag tror det är samma is på den. Jag tror det är bra. Den hade kommit hit. Ja. Kanske ungefär mindre till mig. Jag tror det är bra. Kommer det även hit? Det är helt okej. Ja. Bara inte få kant fram på chatt. Ja, men det tror jag inte är någon risk.
I think I like the draw of this call. If you play the hit, you don't make the roll, you might allow a double through the hole to make it a blank possibly. It's a real good chance to try and steal in an important eighth end.
Kallar vi inte upp så får han chatt för 2. Han har ingenting just nu lätt. Han har ju indragningen runt och kanske om vi kommer kort så att säga. Men kommer vi kort och kalla upp bra, då får han in ett täpen för 2. Så fart ner, frysa egen rakt, det är okej också. Då ligger vi lite bakom, han får dra för 1, men det är ju helt okej. Mycket is hade jag på min dragning för 1. Det var inte så mycket mer än sådär, va? Jag ska kalla mer än så också. Den hade procenten innan. Ja, jag ska kalla lite mer så. Blir man med den här, boys?
So out turn, top button, doesn't have to freeze to it, but come right down, can sit on the corner if he needs to. Well, they got to go keep the line, keep the angle on it, and also get shot stone out of it.
At least second shot.
And very close. Left the button available, but can they draw down and tap that red one just a hair for second shot? Seashell just leaning on his broom.
He did all he could do.
That's
too
very
close
tough
to call.
I think here you draw the button if you have the line just to move that back one a hair. They're playing just to make sure you get your 1.
Yeah, they need their 1 here after giving up a steal of 2 last end.
Det kan godt være, vi kan tabe den til 2, men vi har Vi har 2 indlæg.
So Sweden lies 1, possibly 2. Last stone of the 8th end coming up from Denmark's Rasmus Stern. Nail biting time for his parents.
Needs T-line, if the line's there. Well, they don't want to touch that top one.
Got to go for weight just to get it there for shot.
Well, they do touch the top one, but they get for 1. They don't get to the back one. They're just going to make sure they get their single. And Rasmus Stern gets 1. We are all square. 2 ends remaining. A crucial game in draw 15.
Det här är en mjuka sätt. Jag vill få mer curl än en tidraden, den är ju snarare.
Update you now on Scotland versus China over on sheet C. China lying 1, biting the button for David Murdoch in his last stone. Needs to just pick it out, and he will do that. Didn't need to save his shooter. Scotland picks up 2 to take a 7-4 lead through 8.
Well, the Scottish fans happy with that one, and in full force this morning, cheering on their Scots. Well, sheet A is where we are. Sweden, Denmark, live coverage of the 2013 Ford World Men's Curling Championship. Luke Coley, Rick Watson, centerline guard. Starting things off for Denmark. Sweden would love to be able to blank the end. And it's the usual tie game playing 9. Team with the hammer wants to score multiple points or a blank. The other team wants a force.
That will just stick around.
Well, hits, rolls out. So there have been a few more mistakes from Denmark in the second half of this game. Sweden has turned it up a notch. Of course, the big miss, the jam in the 7th end. So, a couple of good stones there. Victor Shaw on the side of the house. Important this one sticks around, otherwise the center line guard will be peeled off.
Hit and a slight inside roll.
Well, no problem trading these hits back and forth for Nicholas, but put the pressure now on Team Sweden to hit, stick around, because you roll out, then they have a chance to draw around that center line guard. That one nicely done, sticks around side of the house. Long roll if they're going to try and get behind the center line. And can't go too aggressively because of that rollout and peel of that center.
Denmark needs a perfect roll behind that guard at some point, or else it looks like we're headed to a blank. And then Sweden would have the hammer coming home.
And Sweden coming in 5-4, Denmark 6-3. Anytime below a team in the standings, you need a win, but final day especially to stay at 4 losses. And that logjam of teams currently tied for 4th place.
And Sweden would love to bring Denmark back to the pack, hand them their 4th loss.
The nose hit, and Sweden would then also become the cheerleading squad for Team Denmark this afternoon against Canada, before Canada plays Sweden tonight.
Still lots of combinations possible for how the final standings will shake down.
Canada and Scotland sitting atop at 7-2. Then Denmark is behind them at 3 losses. And then the logjam of 4 lost teams trading these hits. Needs to stick around. And that, will it hang around in the paint? It rolls out. And Nicholas Edin has got to be happy that one rolls out. Can go and peel this centerline guard.
And now a blank end becomes more of a certainty.
Extra second in the hack for Sebastian Kraup. 9th end. So there goes the guard out in front. Just that one on the side of the rings. Try and draw play towards it. I think you have to make it, try and freeze to that one just out of the rings. Well, that one goes deep in the rings. Behind the tee line, just going to peel it out. You nose it, you might see a freeze. And the shot becomes a little more difficult right now. Even if they make that perfect corner freeze, you're going to have a chance to blast it all out. So Kraup able to peel that one out. Skip Stone's 9th end.
Kraup actually skipped this team at last year's World Championships when Nicholas SWE-DEN had his back injury. SWE-DEN was just the alternate for the team last year.
Nicholas played in 4 games last year before being unable to compete anymore. Led them to a bronze medal in Basel. Well, they don't freeze to it. They're unable to get to that spot. Well, trying to slide down and get his way maybe a little closer to the ice, and
he's making his way to the concession, I think.
Lots of young kids here in the building this morning, some of the school kids, and even younger than that, trying to get out on the ice. Nicholas was at the other end trying to save some time, and then ends up coming down to talk about what they want to do.
Talking about trying to get rid of both those yellows, but what happens to the shooter then? They'd rather not leave it in play so that Denmark could freeze to it.
The last thing they want to do, though, is leave a bit of a pocket of stones for Rasmus to freeze into.
Nicholas SWE-DEN from Örnsköldsvik in Sweden, same small town that produced Peter Forsberg, Marcus Naslund, and the SWE-DEN brothers in the hockey world.
And ends up rolling over. That's the problem now. You get a little hit, congests the stones a little bit, makes that blank more complicated than it probably needed to be if they would have just hit and rolled out. The other way is it over curls, they touch the yellow, and they get a cheap deuce in this 9th end. Final skip stone for Rasmus Stern. And rolls away.
So now the blank attempt for Nicholas SWE-DEN. See, if he were to hit it on the left side, it would jam.
Trying to blank. They've played the entire end to do just that. Nicholas SWE-DEN in Sweden trying to hold hammer into the 10th end, and he does just that. So blank end hammer will be retained by Sweden. Heading to the 10th end, all square, 6-6, Sweden and Denmark.
Seattle, Washington, only about an hour from here. Home of Brady Clark and his American squad. Some fans of his in the crowd.
Been lots of red, white, and blue throughout the week as we play this 10th end, all square. Putting those center line guards, and we'll see if Victor Shaw will be asked to play the ticks. That will be the play. Well, Victor, I don't think likes that too much.
It's over curling.
Fan vad dåligt satt.
Yeah, I think he got that one going as it'll slide right through. So Victor didn't like it right away.
And we have our first handshakes of the morning with a steal of 3 in the 9th end. Iji Snittle and his Czech team will defeat Japan 10-5 and improve to 6-4. So that surpasses their previous best here at the World Championships with their 6th victory. And they are very much in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Well, it doesn't look like these guards are going to get into a very good position for Denmark. They're both high. They're in a bit of a position where a double peel is there. That's why I think we might see Nicholas Edin just go top 4 foot. Now he's going to draw to the open side. Force Rasmus to get there first. Playing this, banking that you're going to have the double peel made by Fredrik Lindberg.
82.
Well, Victor trying to just draw to the open side. This one going deep. Just needs it in the rings. And uses about all the rings they have.
Russia and the USA over on sheet D. Looks like Russia lying 1. Skip Andrei Drozdov trying to get a second point. All tied up with the USA here in the 9th end.
Trying to get another one in there, won't be able to.
The sweepers left it and it ground to a halt. So they come up light and will have to settle for a single point. USA trails by 1 with the hammer playing in their 10th end.
But that one final, the Czech Republic winning. They now have Switzerland this evening. And that'll be a big game. Depending what Switzerland does this afternoon. Switzerland trying to qualify for the Olympics is the double peel made by Fredrik Lindberg. After Rasmus gets into the 4 foot. Iji Schneidel and Czech Republic need a win tonight, and depending how things shape out with Switzerland and the U.S., try and move into top 7 point-wise for Olympic qualification. Just that 2-year system, and then teams that failed to qualify out of last year and this year's World Championship will play in a qualifying event in December. Continue to see these peels by the Swedes.
Denmark hoping that stone of theirs at the top of the forefoot is the steel point that will give them the victory. They'll continue to guard it.
And if one of these guards over curl, I'm sure Sweden will take a play at that one in the house. Not quite full forefoot. The other thing that Denmark has to know and worry about with Sweden is if it comes tight to the rings, the run back. No, it comes to the center line. You can see part of that one, but
here comes the run back. They try to hit it on the high side so that the shooter rolls away as well. No, they'll just peel the guard.
Just peels it, leaves that one top of the forefoot. So another centerline guard. Last of third stones now. Will continue to peel that one off. Well, trying to make sure they clear the front.
Over to Scotland and China. David Murdoch looking to run China out of stones in the 10th end.
Yeah, a chance to run them out, make the double, and good way to do just that. And that gives Scotland their 8th victory as they will win that one 7-4. Scotland is guaranteed a playoff spot and will play Finland this afternoon. A win there in the 1-2 game.
China drops to 5-5. That all but eliminates their playoff hopes.
They will need lots of help, including a Denmark win would help their case. And now with it coming tight, we see the straight peel or the run back. That's the question. China will have the afternoon off, play Finland in draw 17, the final round robin draw.
Just a peel from Edin.
I thought he might go after the run back, but with that kicker in the back, knows that it could come into play. Decision time for Denmark. 10th end tie game.
One more stone each. The last for Rasmus Stern coming up. The thing too is that that kicker at the back of the 12-foot, Sweden wouldn't even need to stick around with their shooter if they were to make a double takeout with their last stone.
Like that and part of there. We don't get close.
There's no point tapping it. You're going to do that when you're better drawing. What you could do, just another option, you can think of it, because the Swede's big here. You're not draw around on the button and leave that angle down there.
He just rips that.
Yeah, just rips it.
Nose. You just need a nose.
If you tap it, what happens if you tap it?
I just think we should put out that.
Like
I
that.
think you guys, honestly, I don't know. You're leaving the 4-foot draw either way. Yeah, that's probably the better of the option if you're going to do that. Push it to the edge of the 4-foot and cover the middle. And he's got hit. That's not
Why not just go here? That's the same angle.
That's the same angle there.
It's easier to put it there than to.
But if it
And you're closer to the
you
middle.
can tap it closer. If it happens to swing up, then you can tap it.
So you can go there as well and hope you just run.
Yeah. It's coming the centre line's good. It forces him a little
But
bit.
agree on the guard won't do us enough, right?
I don't think guard's going to work. He's going to be able to pull things. Go for something.
I'm thinking
I would probably just to take the angle and push it to the edge of the 4-foot.
Well, some experienced skips there watching on.
Probably discussing what they would do in this situation.
That was
Ultimately, no matter what Denmark does, they need Edin to miss his final stone.
Sort of it, yeah.
I like the timeout call. James Driver come out, talk about the options, and says he's going to have the 4-foot open. And at this level, both skips would hit the 4-foot. Knows Nicholas plays the hit, you might get a little miscue, or that is just trying to make the shot as difficult as possible. I think tapping that Yellowstone. Well, just taps, rolls in, but hitting a little bit of a roll, and I think didn't quite move it far enough. I think a hit can actually roll maybe into that reds or that other yellow. Or would it roll underneath?
I think it would roll underneath. Doesn't allow much of a roll for Edin.
Jag tycker take.
Pretty good shot from Stern there. All he could do is try to limit Edin's margin for error.
So the situation coming in, Sweden obviously has the hammer at 5-4. Denmark 6-3. Both will play Canada in their second games of the day.
Mellan 11. Kan gå lite rakt där, men jag tror inte det kommer gå spikrakt på min ändå. Jag spelar den inte så att den går spikrakt. Jag tror 11 och drygt.
Rasmus Stern could just sit and watch and wait.
Victor hade 11,5 på sin första.
85%. Loves the hits. We'll keep this one a nice control hit weight to pick up a single point and a victory, and a big one at that. Try to snap a 3-game losing streak.
Sweepers just clean it, just needs a nose hit.
And a little roll in, and that is a huge victory for Sweden. Denmark, a tough one after leading early. Sweden gets one and a 7-6 victory.
Huge bounce back game for Nicholas Edin and Team Sweden. One other final. Russia picks up their third win of the week, defeating Brady Clark and his American squad 8-5. So USA drops to 4-6. That will eliminate them from playoff contention. Nicholas Sedin, as I was saying, big bounce back game after losing both their games yesterday, improving their record to 6-4. That puts them in a tie with Denmark now as they drop the Danes down to 4 losses. Both teams playing Canada in their last game of the round robin. Two more draws remaining here this afternoon and this evening. And then the playoffs will start tomorrow. It's yet to be determined, of course, if we'll need tiebreakers or not. So from our feature game, start the highlights in the 5th end. Sweden was in big trouble, but Nicholas Edin saved the end with a freeze, forcing Rasmus Stern to a difficult tap for 3. And he picks up a big 3 to take a 5-2 lead to the break. On to the 8th end now. Momentum shifting towards the Swedes. Rasmus Stern forced to draw to the button for 1. And he just gets it there. Could have possibly picked up 2, but has to settle for 1. That tied the game at 6. The 9th end was blanked, so off to the 10th. Nicholas Edin with the hammer. Denmark lying 2. Sweden needs a hit and stick for the victory. And he will do that. And Sweden with a big come-from-behind win over Denmark, 7-6. To improve their record to 6-4. So the other scores in this draw this morning: Czech Republic defeating Japan 10-5, Scotland over China 7-4, and Russia picking up the victory over the United States 8-5. So the standings after 15 draws: Scotland atop the standings with 8-2. Canada sat idle this morning, 7-2. And then all the 4-loss teams: Sweden, Denmark, Czech Republic, Norway, China, and Switzerland with 5 losses each. They'll need some help now. United States and at 4-6, and the rest of the teams at the bottom. Here's Luke with the winning skip.
Nicholas, it was a tough start to the game. You guys had to battle there the first 5 ends. Talk about that.
Yeah, I actually think we started the game as we wanted in the first couple of ends, but then we got in trouble, big trouble there in, I think it was the 4th or 5th end. They actually could have got a 5-ender out of us, and we had to make a good freeze in the last one after my flash takeout there. And yeah, we were in trouble, and we weren't playing good in those couple of ends. But then after the break, we came out stronger, and they started making some small mistakes, and we started putting the rocks in the right places. And yeah, we got some lucky breaks to get back in that game.
One of those was in the 7th. Talk about that end a little bit.
Oh, I don't even remember the 7th. Was that the steal?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think we played a good end through and through. I think we just make enough shots, and then on my last one there was a double. We could just save that one, but we wanted to really force him to make a good last shot, and went for the nose hit instead, or maybe a small roll and make him do that tap against 3, or the double and risk of sticking it. And we were fortunate that overcurled a little bit for him, and we stole 2.
Well, thanks a lot. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
So that'll conclude our coverage of this draw 15 here at the Ford World Men's Curling Championship in Victoria, British Columbia. For Luke Cooley, I'm Rick Watson. Thanks for watching. We'll see you this afternoon.